Spite, I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. Right?
No, if it's a surprise to you, you've got some things you got to work out.
You have not been paying attention. And if you don't know what this bike is, you also haven't been on motorcycling YouTube in the past year probably. It's the R7. We have one. We bought one. And it's a giveaway bike because of course it is. Check out some sexy B-roll. This right here is a 2022 Yamaha YZF R7 or YZF R7 if you live somewhere not in America. And this is one of the most anticipated motorcycles of 2021. This thing is super cool, and like we said, it's a beginner bike sweepstakes motorcycle. We're giving it away for free. So head on over to the links down below, yamanoob.co, merch.yamanoob.co, or shop.yamanoob.co. Get your entries to win this bad boy and don't miss out. Spite, you excited about this thing?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see it, whether or not it's just the MT-07 in plastics or something a little bit more sophisticated, because when I first heard about it, I was like, who cares, really?
Yeah.
But I honestly, looking at that triple tree up there, I'm noticing some stuff that's making me a little bit excited.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of a game-changing motorcycle. Let's take a quick look at some of the differences of this over an MT-07 and what makes this bike kind of special.
All right, so Yam, is this literally just like it looks like, just an MT-07 in plastics? Because it looks like an MT-07 in plastics, basically.
Kinda, yeah. And it's been fun getting this bike in person here in the shop and just basically clocking all the MT-07 parts and everything else. You were saying there's a CP2 badge under the fairing over there
right
somewhere.
here, that you can actually see the CP2 thing that they just covered in plastic.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So this motorcycle is basically a Yamaha MT-07 with some choice and interesting updates to it. Now, the most important one of those, and MT-07 fans will really much appreciate this, is a set of 41mm adjustable, fully adjustable KYB forks up at the front and a fully adjustable shock at the rear. MT-07's always had a bit of a peculiar handling to it, and I think this is going to massively change the sophistication and the overall feel you get from the suspension. Most important of all as well is the rake has been steepened a little bit. These are changes that I'm very interested in feeling on track. So those are two of the big updates to this motorcycle. Also, you get way better brakes on this bike than you do on the MT-07. This is a healthy, big master cylinder right here, and these are actually 298mm brakes that I think are from the new MT-07 that are a little bit bigger from the older ones. But that's kind of it. And R-bike styling.
I mean, you got to admit, the styling on this it's just classic R-bike.
Yeah, look at the cutouts here.
Although it is kind of funny that we don't have cutouts on the triple tree.
No.
I feel like
those are too expensive.
I feel like we gotta go in there with the Dremel and clean them out a little bit.
I hope not. So this is coming with the same, what is it, 687cc or 689cc?
The same one that
cross
they've been
plane twin,
putting out
270
forever.
degree, yep, the same one. Everyone knows this bag, 75 horse, 50 foot-pounds of torque. Wet weight's about 400-ish pounds, so really right in that sweet spot for a sport bike. The most important thing is, like I said, exactly the same frame, exactly the same swing arm, so this isn't a radical departure from the MT-07. I'm disappointed a little bit about the swing arm, honestly.
So my question is, if we're dealing with the same frame and the same swing arm, but we do have fully adjustable gear on here, is that going to be like putting Öhlins on an MT-09?
It remains to be seen. The thing that really makes me think that this is not going to be like that is the rake has been changed. If you change rake on a motorcycle even by 1 degree, I mean, the turn-in's going to feel totally different.
Yeah.
The geometry's a little bit different up at the front end here. So I believe, and my fingers are crossed, that when I do the first ride on this bike, it won't just be an MT-07. I really, really hope that that's not going to be the case, because I think this bike is very important for the marketplace because it's $9 grand.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, this is probably going to be the bike that slaughters things like the CBR 500R.
Yes. Nobody should buy that bike.
Even like the Ninja 650, it's going to have nothing for this.
No, nothing. And the big thing about this is compared to a Ninja 650, the ergos are way more aggressive. They're actually more aggressive than something like the RS 660, which is a prime competitor for this motorcycle. It's way more of the super bike, super sports style of riding on it.
So here's a question too. Is it going to be an actual beginner bike? Because we had the Trident, which was like 80 horsepower. It was a little bit tough to make the case.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a little bit close with those horsepower numbers. Is this a good beginner bike?
Well, Spite, if it was a 2007, this would be a modern classic because there's no more rules on our sweepstakes anymore. I think this is a beginner bike. We've said that XSR 700s, FZ07s are beginner bikes. They're a little pokier, they're a little faster, and they're probably the very limit of what you should possibly begin on. But I do think this could be piloted by a beginner. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've ridden around on the MT-07 a couple of times, and it is one of those motorcycles that it's good for vets and beginners alike because it is just so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really interested to see what this is like because this is basically the only super sport styled motorcycle that you could theoretically start on other than the RC390.
Yeah.
And everybody's concerned, oh, Thumper can't go on the highway. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this thing.
No.
It just is good to go.
Yeah, I think my unpopular opinion about this is that it actually is a better motorcycle than the R6 for the intended purpose that most people use an R6 for. And we're gonna make an R6 versus R7 video. Don't you wait on that one. But I think this bike, with its more supple torque down low, bigger CCs, fewer cylinders, this is gonna be a better bike on the street, man. And it's gonna probably handle very similar for most people, okay?
I was gonna say those are some fighting words right there.
Because I know that if for example, like if you were to take an R6 and an R7 out to the track side by side, yeah, they're totally different. But how many people actually are like regularly going to the racetrack like I do? Very few. Most people are gonna use this to commute, to have fun on the weekends, and this is a cheaper and better alternative than the R6. Changed my mind.
Those are some strong words.
Can't wait for the comments, right?
Yeah, there are going to be some good comments on this one.
Yeah.
Now, what are the mods looking like for this? Because it is so similar to that MT-07. We were actually clocking the exhaust setup
It's the
here.
same exhaust setup. Yeah, I think there's going to be so many interchangeable parts, so much so that I actually want to order an MT-07 exhaust and see if we can just mate it up and make it work. And that will really hopefully help a lot of R7 owners that are having trouble finding parts, because a lot of manufacturers are like, well, we got to make R7 specific parts. But this is, other than like clearance for plastic here, dude, this is the same thing. I mean, this frame is the same.
Yeah,
I recognize it. I've played enough with MT-07s and XSRs that this is the frame.
This exhaust is exactly the same one off of the new MT-07 because it's got the exact same catch can on there.
The exact same one. So I think that we could probably make a lot of stuff for it. So exhaust for sure, because it's the spiciest exhaust note that any beginner bike has, in my opinion. Beyond that, the track day boy in me is like, let's get a Rev 2, quick turn throttle here. Let's dial in this geometry a little bit. It already comes with a really great set of Bridgestone S22s, 180 out back and 120 up front, super standard sport bike style tires. So I wouldn't change that. I'd love to see how these brakes feel being pushed a little bit more, maybe a new pad if necessary, but beyond an exhaust, I really wouldn't do much else to it. Tail tidy, probably it's a little large.
Yeah, this needs to go somewhere.
Yeah, we don't have the Yamaha blinkers anymore. I think those are finally getting phased out.
Thank goodness.
Those are miserable. The pumpkins.
They could not have been more ready to be thrown in the garbage straight from the factory.
Yes.
The trash part, and finally we have some good looking blinkers on here.
Yeah. Now, as many people know here on the channel, it's kind of been the hour of power for sport bikes, right? We've got so many sport bikes in the fleet, and you, as a kind of guy who lately with the Ducati has been a resurgence of sport bike love in your heart, are you excited to ride this thing and check it out?
Well, I think I am, honestly. It's one of those sport bikes where I think you could actually have fun and play with it. And that's what I'm trying to get out of my sport bike life right now, is being able to enjoy and play with and experience a bike on the street, which you can't do with a lot of these new leader bikes. And
have fun pushing the CBR.
And this thing doesn't have any crazy tech on it either. It's just cable throttle and ABS, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
That seems like it's the perfect mix for me.
It's an interesting matchup for the RS that has tons of tech, tons of feature, tons of stuff. And one thing we didn't note is that this has a slipper clutch actually. So that's a nice feature for on-road and on-track. Get to bang down those downshifts. And like you said, you get to use all of it, man.
Yeah.
Like you could really use all of this bike without yeeting yourself into the sun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be just the same happy little wheelie monster that the MT was, I
I don't know
bet.
if it'll be a super happy wheelie monster. It's way more leaned over, you know?
I think you'll be able to make it work. It's such a torquey bike.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to pop wheelies pretty good on it. But we are very, very excited about this bike. We're gonna do tons of detailed videos comparing, contrasting this thing with different motorcycles. Like I said, R6 comparison is gonna be coming. Gonna take it on track, see how it feels, take it on road, modify a little bit. Gonna have a lot of fun with this bike. Try to make some of that good content for you guys so you can get spoon-fed that nice R7 content for you guys, you know? Here it comes. Here comes the airplane on the R7 content, right?
But R7 or Ninja 650? That's going to be the new one.
That's it. It's the R7. Why would you even... I already told you guys not to get Ninja 650s. Those things suck. So this bike's gonna be a ton of fun. We're gonna have our first ride and review on it coming out pretty soon. And don't forget, giveaway motorcycle. Did not buy this for myself. It's for you guys out there at home. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.